Yeah, that restream's good, huh?
Yeah, it's so good. I'm just trying to make sure it's connected to my YouTube. That's all. But
That's
it says we're live, so
That's
I
what I was
just got
doing
to check it.
before. That's why I was so rushed. I was like, because it looks like it wasn't set up, but then it's all good, I think, for me now.
Yeah. Well, if everyone can hear me, that's amazing. I'm just trying to pull her up. Let's see if we got a chat. Oh, yeah, looks like we're good. Yeah, easy. Yeah, GM. Yeah, okay, yeah, a few people. Can we get a sound check, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet as. Yeah, it's on YouTube now. Excellent. I was muted.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Well, welcome everybody. I'm sure people will be jumping in over the next couple 5 to 10 minutes. We've got about 10 watching at the moment. So thanks for being here this morning, Australian time. Obviously, I've got Craig here with me. Craig and I met probably, I'm going to say over a year ago now in Web3. So he's another local boy in Australia. And we've been jamming to each other for probably, last year across altcoins, across just trends where you want to be in crypto, and obviously of late, more meme coin sort of stuff. So Craig, tell us a little bit about yourself, I suppose.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Sup, Greeny? Sup to the people out there tuning in. Thank you for being here. A little bit about myself, just real quick for those who don't know me. My name's Craig, or on Twitter, Craig's Coin Purse. Sort of jumped in the industry in end of 20, start of 21. So right smack bang in the bull run, and thought I was a genius, and everything went up, and it was great. And then the bear hit, and I realized I wasn't so smart. So I've sort of been learning and fine-tuning the craft ever since then, as much as I can, leading into where we are now. So nice to be able to, it's kind of surreal talking about the industry, considering about 3 years ago I was listening to YouTubers and, looking back, a lot of retards. So I sort of thought to myself, well, maybe I didn't ever think to myself I'd be talking about it, but now that I can, I like to sort of like Greeny, like to keep it real and take out about too much of the advertising and shilling that I saw happening last time. So look, once again, thanks for being here, and hello everyone saying hello, and cheers, Greeny.
No, cheers for the intro, guys. Yeah, so obviously today we'll be talking a whole bunch. We'll honestly dive into everything, I reckon. Like, obviously, yesterday was a red day, and I told my group, I was shilling it on Twitter, buy the red days, guys. Like, this is a proper bull market, and if you're not buying now, like, you want to be buying those dips, because that's essentially how you go up healthily. Like, you want to have these retraces, but then you also want to be APing those dips, because you've got that longer time mindset. Hey, like, you want to be having those returns. Like, I threw out a poll yesterday about Solana predictions, like how much Solana do you think you need to be a millionaire? And interestingly, a lot of people said you only need 1,000. So that's what they're saying, is that if you have 1,000 Sol, you'll essentially Solana is going to get to $1,000. But a lot of other people were a little bit more conservative, and I don't know. I've looked at Fib levels before, and I do think it could potentially hit 1,000 in a super cycle sense. And we could maybe have a look at the charts later today, but it's just great to see the board back up and about. Obviously, AVAX is on absolute tear, which is great. I know that Craig and I both are super into AVAX. So again, we'll touch base about all of that today. But just to start off with, obviously, guys, I just shared a tweet before, actually. I'll share the screen. How do I do that? Hold on a sec. Let's go. No, not that one. This one. All right. So if you have a look at my screen here, guys, and then if I put it like this, no, why didn't that work? All right. Let's just see if it wants to play with me. All right, can you see my screen now?
We can
Maybe
see.
It takes a little bit of a delay. A chart or not? No. Oh, yeah, here we go. There we go. All right, Matt. Okay. I'll just share this tab instead. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, so BlackRock shared this tweet held here today. Sorry, Watch a Guru shared this tweet today, just before, honestly, about what BlackRock's saying about Jerome Powell's speech, and he said it's a green light for investors. So obviously, I just wanted to share that, because at the moment, there's been a lot of talk about where we are in terms of rates, in terms of where we are in terms of inflation coming down, that sort of thing. So obviously, we're starting to see that Web 2, and so economics, macroeconomics, inflation might be starting to come down. And so even Jerome is starting to say that it's maybe risk on sort of time for different assets. So that's really good to see. And just further to that point, if we have a look at the charts here, you can see just how much this is on a weekly, right? Look at how much this pullback was bought up. Okay, so if we have a look here, this is total crypto market cap. There was literally a 7% buyback after that drop yesterday. So it's great to see for sure. Craig, is there anywhere you wanted to start it off with today? Do you want to talk meme coins? Do you want to talk AVAX? And do you want to talk even Friendtech? Up to you, mate. We can talk about it all. So where would you like to start?
You kind of you actually went straight to where I was going to go to first, which was the total crypto market cap. What is it? I mean, last night before I went to bed, I did some quick notes. Was it 1.55 at the moment? Is that what you were saying?
Mate. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 1.57. Yeah.
So it's quite interesting because I think last time I was chatting to you, maybe about 3 weeks ago when you were with me on Crypto Nova, I think it just broken 1.3, and maybe a month ago. And you said, oh, look, it's broken the 1.3. You were sort of ringing the bell saying, yeah, bull runs on. I sort of wanted to, I wanted to sort of get your thoughts about that. You sort of felt like 1.3 was your critical level to break. Once it sort of held above there, that was your confirmation?
Yeah, very much so. And if we have a look, I will bring it back up. Just a sec. Yeah, easy. Okay, and there we go. And if we go, yeah, perfect. All right, there we go. So if I bring it back up, guys, the whole reason I saw the 1.3 level is if you look at this accumulation zone, and again, I've tweeted this out a couple of times. We spoke about this in my last live stream. Like, this is how long the last previous accumulation zone was. I always take it from the second high. So the second high after the last pump. So as long as this doesn't break that previous high, that shows me that we have changed into a bear trend. And so that was the accumulation last cycle. Obviously, we had that dip due to the COVID, obviously, in 2020. So that's maybe why we didn't start to run up here a bit earlier. But if we have a look here, obviously it's a way shorter accumulation zone. Again, if I zoom out, that was the second highest dip. So I've taken the time from that dip there. And then if you do look, obviously it was a big resistance zone here at the 1.3. And if we zoom out, that's essentially where there was support last cycle for when we rallied for that second all-time high. That to me was the early sign that we are in a bull market. So I keep chilling this. Like, I don't know, if we keep getting positive news, it's hard to not think that we might just go up very quickly, very strongly, and then have a massive pullback maybe early, mid next year or something like that as well, just like due to the fundamentals, due to the news, due to the ETFs, all that sort of thing. But I would like to see probably a bit of a healthy retrace sometime soon.
Yeah, because it's looking pretty up only there, isn't it? Like, that pullback the other day, I mean, that was just waiting to happen, wasn't it? All those liquidations and that, it was almost like it was set up, like, as in, if you're a market maker, that was looking juicy as hell to pull that right back, which, hey, they did. I don't know how much it was, but when I saw it was like 290 million of liquidations, or 97 or something.
About that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I thought we could also talk about sort of start with the bigger caps. I'll go to the big daddy, go to Bitcoin. We can chat a bit about that. And sort of, Greeny, this is my second bull, if you want to call it the bull now. I had one bed. I think this is your third of both, is it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so I was here in 2016, 2017 when we pumped, and I was here in 2020, 2021 when we pumped. And so this is my third cycle. So again, like, Bitcoin's looking pretty strong here. It's gone past all of this resistance from last cycle, and it's starting to really show me that we'll hit this 46 level. And I would either expect it to maybe round off top, come back down, test some of these levels in the mid 30s. If not, we might power through it and start looking 50 plus, which is just crazy to think, I suppose, in 2023 or the start of 2024. I think a lot of market makers, a lot of people out there expected sort of maybe the run to come around the halving. So that's going to be in March this year. However, it seems that we're really early at this current point in time, which again is good. And it could mean that we are in a super cycle. But again, I do start to worry, like you just said, we've both had a lot of experience here in crypto. And I think it'd be great if we did see a little bit of a sustained, either consolidation. Doesn't even have to be a pullback to a certain level. It could just consolidate around this price level for maybe a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And then that would have me a little bit more confident that we can sustain a further move up.
Yeah. I was sort of thinking the same thing. And I mean, what was all-time high last night? It was about 69K.
Yeah, 69.
Which is, but even I was looking at the sort of the gains for the last month, and there's 12% for the month, I think, Bitcoin, which is pretty big, man.
I know.
It was which was crazy because I sort of compared that to Ethereum. and that was 6% for the month. So Bitcoin's outperformed Ethereum by almost 2x, which was quite interesting to see. So as far as you're concerned, would you say I mean, I know a lot of people, the interesting thing about the Bitcoin run for me was I felt like I kind of caught a few people off guard. I felt like a lot of people, I know for me on my circles and on the timeline, it was almost like the bear market kind of drilled, and myself included, kind of drilled into people to always just kind of be fearful of that ever pending massive dip that was coming, almost the last shakeout. But I felt like it's almost been the last shakeout for 5 shakeouts. Every time there was a big one, I had people in my ear going, well, there's one more. And it's like, well, man, you've been saying that for so long. When's it not going to be one more? And I sort of, when we had that low come in, what was it? About 16,000, 16,500 for Bitcoin.
Yeah, down here. Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't really looked like going back there. Now, I sort of wanted to ask you, because you're a lot more, you've been through a few. Could you, what are your thoughts are revisiting those lows versus saying, no, we're not seeing those again anytime soon? And
I think I actually, a couple of months ago on Twitter, I actually said I don't think we'll go under 20K again. If I look at the chart now and the strength from that point of time, I think I would have been saying it like down. Like, I think this was a retest here of 25. And then I think I was saying it here. I don't think we revisit below 20 ever again, probably. But looking at this chart, I could potentially, worst case scenario, I could see it come back and retest this 31, 32 sort of level. So I could see it potentially like just maybe pump up here a little bit further, hit a couple of these levels, and then maybe come down over here into mid 2024. But again, you just don't know. And like we both do, we just play it on air, play it on price action, and see what happens. Obviously, and
I suppose just
said yesterday
at the time as well.
Yeah, exactly. And buy the dips because you're in a bull market. Yeah, you're in a bull market, so buy the dips. But like I said, like see how we have like a nice pump and then a retrace and a nice pump and then a retrace and a nice pump and then a retrace consolidation. We've had a big pump and we honestly have not consolidated. And this is on a weekly chart. So again, this is what I start to look for as we move into a more bullish sort of trend and up only. Like you can look at previous cycles, oopsies. Let me just change that back. So if we look here, like obviously we had weeks, like as soon as we broke out last cycle here, we consolidated here for a couple of weeks and then we didn't consolidate until we pumped up another, like probably 4x. Like if you look at that, like that's a 2 to 3x already. Yeah. So it can potentially happen and then we consolidate in some time. But that's what we're looking at for Bitcoin, I suppose.
Yeah, I sort of love the fact the market does that to people, and the fact that it catches you off guard. I suppose that for me, the feeling it was interesting because I felt like the bear last time caught me off guard as well. So it's kind of like the bear came, quicker than I thought, and I was in that mindset of, it's a bear trap, and I kept waiting for that moment. I remember a friend of mine. He's big into TA like you, Greeny. He's been doing it a long time, and he's more into currencies and things. But anyway, he was talking to me about Bitcoin, and he's like, man, if I was you, I'd be selling here and just waiting to see what happens. And I was like, nah, man, I've got my plan. Who was that guy that was predicting the prices going back last season? And everyone was it not
El Paco, wasn't it? What's his name?
There was another dude who had created a stock to flow, or was it a?
Oh, really? Yeah, okay.
And his predictions were more towards like the 150K. So being a bull market, rookie like me, I kind of hear his estimations have been quite accurate for about a year. So I said to my friend, no, I'm not going to go by the chart. I'm just going to stick to my plan. I'm sticking to my plan. And I think that's the moment in crypto where I learn a lesson, and that's stick to your plan until the chart tells you not to stick to your plan. And it's funny. I remember that moment so well. It was at night, and he was telling me, he said, look, I think it's over, man. I think, well, not over, but I think you should probably better off being in stables. And I was like, nah, Bitcoin's going to hit this. That's my plan. And I stuck to it, and it turned out to be incorrect. And I wish I'd taken that advice. Look, in hindsight, easy to say, but I suppose the lesson I'm trying to get across is just make sure you're observing the market versus the story you've told yourself in your head, because that can hurt you. So a plan's great, but don't be too stubborn.
100%. And even more to that, I think crypto Twitter, it can be so toxic sometimes. You have some big personalities, big influencers. I know Ben Cowan, big media person in Web3, has like nearly 1 million followers on YouTube and stuff. A lot of people follow his advice, and he was saying, oh, no, we're seeing lower for months and months. And like, he's like, yeah, Bitcoin dominance going up. You want to be in Bitcoin. You want to be in Bitcoin. I'm like, bro, like, open your eyes. He's a big Cardano fan as well. And if you're like a diehard fan of someone like that, and you're not open to new opportunities, new narratives, etc., you miss Solana and you've missed AVAX hitting, like, Solana's already done like a 4x, if not more, if you got in at its lows, and AVAX is hitting that 3x sort of level now too. So it's just like, open your eyes. Like, this is why I love me and you. Like, we just understand. Like, look at us. We're already on the AVAX bandwagon for trading meme coins over there. Like, that, you have to ebb and flow if you really truly want to make that sort of life-changing money this cycle. You have to get away from the narratives that was last cycle. You have to get away from the noise in crypto and actually do your own research to get into potential other lucrative sort of plays. Like, I see a lot of mutant apes on my timeline, and those people are like, absolutely, like, fair play to them. Like, they ran, if you minted it, you're still up a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but the fact that those apes and the mutants ran to several $100,000, and then people are still going, no, it's going to come back. Uyghur is Uyghur. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's fine. Like, I respect Uyghur as well. Like, they're doing a lot of things for Web3, but at the end of the day, you've missed Pudgies, you've missed Mad Labs, you've missed Clanos. Like, you've missed so much more that you could have also had exposure to if you just kind of got out of that mindset and stopped married your bags, I suppose is the best way to put it. So.
That's exactly right, man. And I mean, hindsight's a beautiful thing, but seeing those apes, I mean, I'm sure a lot of apes learn a lesson this cycle. I mean, it was interesting last cycle. Everyone who had a Bored Ape PFP was a genius at the time, right? And it was kind of really interesting for me to see in the market a whole bunch of apes that had kind of been looked up to because they had an ape and they picked an NFT that ended up doing, say, 1,000x or 100x, whatever it did. It was a crazy number. But it was interesting to me watching them start to get NFT predictions wrong. And that's when I sort of realized, look, a lot of these guys, probably 9 out of 10 guys, and no disrespect to the apes, but that was their first win in NFTs. And it was a massive win, but certainly it's one of those things, be careful who you follow. You know, they may just have got, I want to be careful with how disrespectful I sound here, but they may have just got lucky.
Well,
like, at the end of the day.
I do agree. And like, that's it. Like, there is a lot of luck involved because there are particularly few are there in that NFT sort of meta of 2020, 2021. Like, you could have had punks really low. You could have got an ape at 0.08. A few of the nifty boys that I follow, like, I think Nick got into the apes around that 0.8. I think Bunny got into at 0.8, but I think Nick got in around that 1 ETH sort of zone, and he bought 2. So like, you do have to be lucky because essentially there are several plays that could be good and then could dump as well. So yeah, definitely one to be aware of. Just respond to a couple of questions in the chat. Yeah, don't worry, guys. We'll be sure to look at some meme coins later, particularly AVAX meme coins.
I'm going to go buy some stock quickly before I shell it on here.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, sorry, shoot, bro.
No, well, I do want to hit. Well, let's look at the charts of just AVAX, obviously, and Beam and stuff. The ones that are actually pumping. Do you own any Beam actually?
I don't, but I watched your. I was actually outside in the heat the other day, and I was sitting in the sun. I was trying to get a break off the computer, and I had the headphones, and I was listening to your YouTube, and I heard you mention Beam, and that sort of took me back to last run. There was actually a lot of the ones you were saying. I'd kind of looked at. It's interesting. The ones you were looking at, I'd looked at last run. So it was kind of like the names you were saying. I was like, yeah, I'm familiar with them, and I felt like they hadn't quite. A lot of them still are going to get another go. I don't think they're rinsed out yet. Whereas I think a few of the other ones perhaps are. But yeah, sorry, no Beam I don't have, but I need to look at it.
Yeah, easy. Well, obviously this is AVAX. Again, the strength was clearly obvious as soon as we broke out this long-term trend down the bottom. Again, this is on the weekly chart, so it just shows you the strength. Like, look at that candle last week, insane. But obviously, in my opinion, like, this is why you got to buy dips. Look at how far we still have to go, even if that's an all-time high. Even if we pump past that all-time high, like, there's just so much more room and more time to come. Like, we haven't even hit the halving yet, and that's usually the catalyst that send us parabolic. So that's why I'm harping on about buying those dips. But yeah, so the AVAX chart looks very good here. Obviously, I'd say it could reach maybe 50, 60 before we maybe see a little bit of a resistance again. Obviously, I know you picked up some Joe recently as well. I shared this on my Twitter yesterday, I think it would have been. But I'm seeing this massive weekly double bottom playing out. I would expect it to maybe hit these sort of levels. What's that? Nearly a 2x in probably maybe in a month or so. But that's what I'm looking at for Joe, and obviously Joe for the crowd out there is Trader Joe, so that's where you can buy your meme coins on AVAX. And then obviously Beam. So Beam is, again, this is new. It's a new token. It's on essentially it's a platform on AVAX that allows you to get in early to certain projects. It has a DEX on it, etc., etc. But it's a super big gaming narrative that I know Becca and Elio Trades have been shilling as well. So I think this could just absolutely balloon in price. Again, if you look at, let's just share this screen quickly. If you come over to the gaming, look at this. Look at this green board. This is after we dumped yesterday too. But yeah, have a look at this. Beam's up 50% in the past 7 days. It's already over $1 billion now. So I just don't see this sort of stopping really.
No, and that's good. That's good signs. And I know when we spoke, maybe a month ago, you and I both mentioned we were looking at gaming coins, and they've just been going so well, haven't they? And it's sort of those times I wish I had so much more money, liquidity. I just wish I had, because there's so much I want to get into. But one of the other things, I don't know, we can sort of talk about this maybe. I know last run, probably a couple of the mistakes I made, or one of the mistakes I made was probably I was in too many coins. I was very enthusiastic. I was watching a lot of YouTubers and things like that. I wasn't on Twitter as much, but a little bit. And so I was just hearing all these different things with all these different names, with all these different tech. So I think I ended up with a good 35 altcoins. And by the end of it, it became overwhelming. Watching them all the time, because I didn't have, and at that stage I hadn't really got into, I hadn't set my take profits or my TPs on the exchanges, which I did later. And I later learned, I can automatically set it to sell. I don't have to be. So for about a year, I was watching every coin every day, and it got quite got draining. So for sure. What I want to sort of do this run, I think, is kind of narrow my bets a little bit more than that, and not have 35 on the go at the time, and maybe pull it back to 10, maybe whatever that number might be, or maybe 5 really strong conviction plays and 5 roughies, maybe something like that, which might be your beams. I say roughy, but not really roughy, an educated roughy, right? But something that can do 100x. Versus, say, Ethereum, which we might get a 3 or 5. So actually, I wanted to pick your brain on Ethereum. One of the questions I had for someone that's been in a few cycles, do you think Ethereum's kind of had its day, but the percentage increases we can see on it, do you think those have minimized now that it's had such a good run for quite some time?
Yeah, I do. That's probably why I'm heavy on the AVAX and the Solana narrative. Just because of 2 reasons mainly. The first one was that it definitely did go back a lot. It didn't go as deep as what Bitcoin and other altcoins did when we dumped. Essentially, ETH only dumped let's have a look. ETH only dumped about 80%, whereas Bitcoin and others dumped a little bit harder. And so that was my first thing going, okay, so ETH is obviously stronger due to the merge. I think the merge was around this sort of point last year. So that showed me that there was strength already in the chart. I do think ETH could hit 10K, but that's still a lot of money. And again, it comes back to that narrative that you gotta remember that these larger market caps, they need way more money to make it go a 5x sort of thing. So whereas if a low cap has way less market cap, then a 5x is a lot easier. It might only mean 100 million, and it's a 5x. So that's where I was hedging my bets. And I remember tweeting out a while ago, ETH went on a 20x last cycle. Obviously, we spoke about the Bored Apes earlier. They had the punks, they had the NFTs. So ETH just went on absolute tear. Everyone on ETH just made so much money, let's call it. Okay. And so where I start, and this is where this cycle, it rhymes to last cycle. And that's why I'm thinking Solana is actually the play. It was heavily oversold due to the FTX FUD.
Yeah.
Everyone's starting to wake up that trading on Solana is great because it's gasless, it's fun, it's fast.
How good is that? And how good is the gas?
It's so good. It is so good, man. And so that as well, we're in plenty of group chats together with a lot of ETH maxis, and they are starting to wake up to AVAX and to Solana. So
It's
it's great to
because
see.
I used to get a lot of shit, and you would have as well, mentioning Solana even about 2 months ago. 3 months ago, you mentioned it, and especially with meme coins or whatever. If you'd mentioned Solana meme coins, man, you would have got laughed out of the group chat. And now these group chats exclusively for Solana that you're in and I'm in, where there's names of all those ETH guys that are there now, and it's like, okay, for me, seeing that is a massive sign. Just in that, if those guys are coming across, they're going to be shilling the coins that are on that chain. And if they're shilling the coins on that chain, the volume's going to be there. And that price of that particular chain is going to go up from that native chain. So Solana, yeah, man, it's looking pretty red hot. Obviously, AVAX, I played Solana last bull, and God, that coin was good to me. That was so good to me, that coin. You probably had a good time too. That was like having a money printer. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was just seeing my bank account go up daily, and just thought I was so smart. Turned out I wasn't, but no, I made good money on that, and that's part of the reason why I'm bullish on it again. Sort of feel it needs another run, and then that's why I'm so bullish on AVAX, because AVAX for me is moving in a similar direction, not only chart wise but feel wise to Solana, where it was not a lot said about it, and then all of a sudden it became. I don't know if you remember last one when Solana. People only really talk about things when it starts really ramping, right? Solana was the same last run, and it started going, and then that was like the golden child for that run. It was like everyone's baby that no one saw coming that did really well, where you felt really smart. It feels like AVAX might be that one this run for me. I feel like that's the one that's going to have people on the timeline going, I've made $1 million. I've got my Lambo now. They're going to be celebrating. You know what I mean? It's going to get that it's going to get those guys with the gold chains coming out, or the girls in Dubai and stuff, man. And it's going to get that free
100%.
shilling. And then everyone wants to get rich. They dump their money on those people exit, and the story goes on again and again. So that's why I'm kind of bullish on Solana. Looks so good, and I really wish I guess we could say this every cycle, but that low was just so good, man. So great coins. I'm a big fan. I know you are, and certainly for me, I remember last run. I mean, we're feeling it now with the gas with Ethereum. It just sometimes it can be quite frustrating, right? Because sometimes the gas can be 20% of your total holdings of that particular coin. And so if you're taking a haircut on it, like say it's at your stop loss, and you're like, look, it's retraced 70%. Often in Ethereum, there's no point selling because the gas is going to gob up another 25%. So sometimes you end up having to hold to zero in the hope that you don't lose everything. You know what I'm saying? So having the no gas or very little gas in Solana and AVAX, it actually just allows you to move more fluidly and move how I'd like, versus I found Ethereum sometimes made me feel stuck, and it'll get worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. And further to that whole point, like I look at the altcoin pair. So this is Solana versus ETH, and this is why I was super bullish on Solana, because I started hedging my bets in that way. So it's outperformed ETH by since that breakout, like a 3 to 4x. So again, you want to be looking at stuff like that. And obviously Bitcoin in its comparison to ETH, it's looking very weak. So if you'd held Bitcoin or been buying Bitcoin since August last year, you would be up compared to ETH. But yeah, that's a whole range. But obviously we have a lot of different altcoins down below. I'm sure we can look at a few of them later, but perhaps we can shift a little bit into the meme coin narrative now, if you'd like. Do you have any particular plays that you're looking at? I know that you're in bear. I might be able to pull up those charts.
Yeah, I'm obviously heavy in bear, man. I'm having to make videos now, so if I'm making videos, I'm deep in a coin. Either that I'm having. To be honest, most of the time it's having a good time. I kind of like to kind of enjoy my time in the space. So quite often people, when I make a video or I'm shilling the shit out of something, they'll be like, "Holy crap, man! How much of this coin do you have?" And it's often a lot less than they think. I'm a bit like you. I'm quite conservative. And the only reason, I suppose the main reason I'm conservative is I want to last in the space. And I think that's the tough part. Making money here is not hard. It's keeping it. It's like the casino, anyone can go in and play blackjack for a night and make 20, 30 grand. But did you walk out with 20 grand? Or did you continue to play because you're on a hot streak and the casino ends up taking the 20 grand plus another 20. So I'm just quite wary of overplaying hands. I still do it. And you're certainly, I feel probably a lot more conservative than me, even whereby I'll tend to marry things a lot more where you're very ruthless, which is the ideal way to be to walk away. But yeah, meme coins, man. Yeah, show me bear. Obviously.
So this is what I'm looking at for bear. Yeah, like I saw this breakout, and that's when you were charging, and like, but you got in down here, so like you hit a 3-4x up here. But it did turned over here at the top. It didn't hold this level at the one, whatever level that would have been. Yeah, like the 3 point something level. And then it has started to retrace. I was hoping for a bounce at this sort of support level here, but it didn't bounce there. And then it hit this lower support way back down here at about that. Probably it's about the 2 million sort of range. So again, it could consolidate here. Okay, I'd be looking for that potential like this on a 4-hour chart, but we have a look. Again, if you look here, like this could be a little double bottom that's starting to form. So like we could see a bit of a reversal, particularly if AVAX keeps pumping. Then we could see some of these meme coins go up, but that's one. And yeah, like we are seeing a little double bottom there. Whether it has the volume to kick it higher is the next sort of play. So that's what I'm looking at for bear. How about you? You still in?
Yeah, no, I'm still in. I kind of wish I had followed the chart, but I mean, I was watching it in exactly the levels you spoke about. I watched, and I was thinking, come on, hold. A lot of the times, it's the time zone difference that catches me.
Yes.
And I'll go to sleep, and it's starting to hit the level that I want it to. And I wake up and it's failed, rejected, and dumped. I'm like, damn it. Like, so you can get stuck in channels quite easily with our time zone, with America waking up and dumping. And I wake up and go, damn it. So that actually is what happened on bear. I kind of got dumped on while sleeping. But for me, I'm sort of in it. That coin there, I kind of went into it a little bit differently, where I went into it with the narrative of a first mover being that, the dog, the founder, blah, blah, blah. So this for me was a bit of a different one. This is kind of my Hail Mary, where I'm like, I'm just going to hang in there and I'm going to hope, and it's more of a hope play, that, like you said, AVAX just rips during this bull, and it's going to pull a lot of these, coins. And I'm just, bear's one of those that goes with it.
Yeah, for sure. And one that my group is looking at as well. I'm pretty sure you had early exposure to Rocket as well. I'm pretty sure one of my group members called it down here. Yeah. So it's obviously pumped, and this is what I'm looking at. Like I drew these fibs, so it pumped up here. The way I draw my fibs is I take it from the absolute low, just for everyone in the crowd, and then take it to the absolute high, and then you can draw the 0.6 and the 0.5. A lot of coins, both with low market caps and high market caps, always respect fib levels. It's just crazy how psychologically, how mathematically it works and all that type of stuff. So as you can see here, this coin, so this is Rocket on AVAX as well. It's heavily respecting those levels. I'd be looking for it to hold these and then maybe look to break out here. This is kind of a continuation pattern. It probably is more of a probability that this pattern is bearish, but again, they can move up from these sort of patterns consolidation. So it might consolidate here for another couple of days, and then it could potentially rocket a bit higher once it's started to consolidate. So yeah, have you got in early to Rocket, didn't you?
Yeah, I got in early to Rocket, so that was I played that one better than bears. Got into Rocket, did the 2-3x, took initiatives out, then took profit, and then slowly on the way up just started scaling out, and then left about. I still left a good, still a good chunk in there, still good, probably half. I'm still riding, so but that's another one I'm kind of happy to, because I'm safe, right? I've taken the initials, I've taken my profit, so I'm prepared to let that last bit do its thing on the hope that it does a nice shot up, right? If it crashes, so be it. I think for me, a lot of the times, you might be the same. It's about getting a position, then getting out safely, and having a horse in the race that I don't own, I didn't pay for. So 100%. So now if it does a crazy run up, I'll just be celebrating. And if it dumps, I'm not going to be shedding too many tears. I kind of also celebrate the fact being in those positions and how many times I can get into them. And then from there, then start to learn or work on my execution once I'm in it. So for me, the celebration's being in the position. Secondly to that, improving my execution once I'm in them. So at the moment, it's more about me getting in position. For me not too hard these days. It's making the right moves once in position. So sort of working on that. But yeah, I'm still in Rocket as well. The community's still loud as hell. So for me, that's normally a really good sign. Doesn't always mean things are going to go up, but let's face it, if the community's quiet, it's very bearish, pardon the pun. So yeah, and it was nice to see meme coins kick off on that chain, because for me, that was another sign that I was, I guess, semi-correct in that AVAX is going to go real well this season, because I don't remember too much last time at this stage of the game, AVAX meme coins kicking off at all. In fact, meme coins back then was even a bit of a dirty word in my circles. You know, I was very tech focused and utility. And then one of the things last cycle taught me was, man, utility is great, but a lot of it's vaporware anyway. And when my friends came into the space, one of the other things I noticed is they always bought Doge, man. Every time, no matter what I said to them, I'd sit down with them, we'd go over all the coins I was into, the what, the where, and the why. And I'd speak to them the next day and I'd be like, what do you get? And they'd be like, oh, I got some Matic like you thought, and I got some ETH, and then I got some Doge because Elon was talking about. I'm like, and then and I used to get, I guess maybe the word's frustrated, which was kind of silly, right? And then I thought about it, and once I did last cycle, I missed out on a lot of easy gains, man. Like I left so much money on the table not playing that coin, just out of pure almost like, well, I don't know what you'd call it, right? Just a bias in my head that just thought it's a joke. But man, if jokes make money, who cares, right?
And honestly, and that's my bet this cycle with Doge. Obviously the chart supported that. So like you, we both have a similar trading mindset. So you want to have good, strong community around it. You want to have the sentiment around it. So people are talking about it, people are interested in it. And you want to have that chart technical analysis set up. And so if you hit sort of 2 or 3 of those boxes, for me at least, and I'm sure for you as well, then that's a good token to get into, in my opinion. And Doge being a prime example of that. There's several meme coins on ETH that we've traded over the past couple of months, a couple on Solana as well, that have really shown me all 3 of those factors and allow us to make a bit of money. Now, the reason I've got a decent bag of Doge, it's probably, I'm going to say, my 6th largest holding, I'll say. The reason for it is, like you just said, it's the normie factor. So if I talk to my friends, who some of them just still shut me down about crypto, I'm like, mate, that's fine. You're missing out on an opportunity. That's fine by me, man. Whereas other people, they do talk to me a little bit about it. They're like, oh, okay, like, what about this? What about this? And they always bring up Doge. And so that's the first thing. So that shows me it's a common person's knowledge that it's Bitcoin, Doge, and probably ETH, I'll say. They may have heard of Solana now that it's pumped, but it's those 4 tokens. And so that's where you want to be hedging your bets there. The second one was obviously this chart. It had this huge breakdown. It consolidated for a long period of time, and it's starting to break up now. It has lagged due to probably Pepe and other tokens that have just taken so much of the liquidity. And Bonk, we'll talk about Bonk later on Solana. But essentially, that, as well as the integration of X and Doge, like I know it's coming. Like Elon loves Doge. Like you just have to know that. So you want to have exposure. You just you want to hedge your bets, like you say. You want to have a little bit of the pie just in case that thing does a 10x. And if we do look at this chart, like it has the potential to run to its all-time high, which is like at 70 cents. So that it's off my screen, but that's like a 6-7x even from today still. So you want to just have exposure to something that could potentially happen, right?
Yeah, that's I mean, Doge for me is definitely one worth having, and then probably a bit of Pepe on the side just to hedge bets against Doge if Pepe tends to outperform it. But I don't think it matters. I just have a bit of both, and I'd be pretty confident if you had a bit of both, you're going to get a win out of one of those, and I think probably a pretty good one.
Yeah, I do agree. All right, let's go back to meme coins. Let's pull up Cock. There's a few people in the crowd that have been asking for it, so let's pull it up.
I didn't get into this coin. I probably should have, but I actually don't know much about it, so it'd be good for me to see what the go is about it.
Yeah, neither do I actually. I heard it's obviously worth like 30 mil. It ran up here to probably nearly 40, I'd say, if it's at 28 now. So yeah, it definitely ran. Like I heard about it probably in this range here. But I did start to see this trend, and I said, okay, like my risk to reward at something like this is not great. Like that's only that would be a swing trade, so that'd be a 90% move there. But it has started to break down. So this is where you would start to look at. Obviously, you could draw your fibs just to see if it hits a fib level.
I don't think your charts change, Greeny, or maybe mine's still on.
Oh no, there we go.
Yeah, cool.
Oh no, I went on a rant without saying. Okay, here we go. I'll go back to that. So essentially,
Sure.
I saw it pump all the way up like this. Obviously, this is where I first heard of it, probably in this zone here, around sort of where price action is now. And I did start to worry that okay, it hasn't broken below this trend, so I won't sort of play this. And again, a lot of people are like, oh, like should we get into this coin? And I'm like,
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't have my system. Like I want it to, it just doesn't, like, over my experience over the last 8 years, like you start to learn what works for you and what doesn't. And this started to show me, okay, I could maybe swing trade this like for about a 90% move, 80% move. But is that really worth it if I'm maybe dipping out for a couple of hours if I can't
Yeah.
actively watch the chart? And so for me, no. So that's where you do start to watch levels like this. And sure enough, it did break down. And I get a few people on Twitter and a few people in the groups that just say, "Oh, hey, Greeny, like, how come you're not getting into this?" And that's the reason for it. Like, I have, I suppose, just a lot of experience with reading charts and just understanding sort of where you are in the level of a chart. And so it was at 30 mil, man. Like that's just crazy. Like if you got down here, like that's a 10x. Like so, you need to zoom out a little bit sometimes to read the chart. So obviously we're broken down here. If we have a look at the fibs, let's have a look and see where Cox sort of playing out. So if we have a look here again, it's respected this exact zone like I spoke to you about before on the other token. So the 0.5 to 0.618 fib, it has respected that zone there. So I would be looking for it, maybe a bounce at the 0.5 if we come back down and retest it here. That could be a potential good buy zone for Cock. Again, let's have a look here and the horizontals. So yeah, again, it's got that big support level probably about there as well. It might retest that zone. If not, we'll probably retest this zone back up here. So that's what I'm looking at for that token for sure. Have you got me?
Sorry, I think my internet's wigging out. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you made the right move on that plane. Like you said, when something's going up like that, the trouble with it is when it breaks down like that, you can actually get stuck bag holding for so long.
Yeah.
Like if you had bought, not even at the high, but further down, and it breaks down like that, man, you could be, and that's if you ever get out, like it could just accumulate and then dump, even further from that. So I'm not saying that will, and there's certainly a lot of hype about it, so maybe it will go up. But I was the same as you. When I saw the size of it, I was like, oh, look, I'm probably better at looking at the newer opportunities on the chain.
Yeah.
Just trying to get an easier 3 to 5x rather than jump into this and get a 2x, but risk a pullback of I don't know, 70% or 50%. So I was the same as you. I was just like, I was a bit gun shy, and also didn't know much about it. So I was like, look, it's gone to 30 million. I don't know much about it. There's obviously a lot of people in before me, right? And there's going to be a lot of people there, like you said, who are sitting on a 10x. Man, I dump on me if I enter.
100%.
So that's what people need to realize as well, is when you see price go up like this, the Craigs and the Greenies and the other people of the world that got in early that are sitting even on a 5x, man, I'm waiting to sell, and just know that if you're entering there, chances are pretty high. I am, definitely. So that's where I start to think, if I'm thinking of selling there, and I'm no genius, so a lot of other people, and I quite often in charts, it's interesting when I hit sell, just boom, 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 it's just a cascade of sales.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm the one that set it off. I'm saying, obviously, I'm thinking like a lot of others are. And so you've got to respect the chart, I suppose, is what I'm ranting.
And you have to. Yeah, and you have to respect the chart, and you have to, it's your gut feeling in a way, and it's your sentiment of a coin. And that's it. Like you said, this hit like 30 mil. For it to 2x from 30 mil, that's 60 mil. Like that's so much more money, right? Whereas if a token is at only like 500K, 2x to get to a mil is so much easier. And that's where I like to hedge my bets. You want to be in those tokens in that sort of sub-mil sort of range, because the turnover for a couple quick X's is a lot easier than tokens that are already up high in the mils.
I think that'd be the biggest play on AVAX, won't it? I had what else was on there?
Let's have a look.
I think it was Wolf. I looked last night. I think it was Wolf.
Oh yeah.
There's 3.4 mil or something. I don't know that thing. Oh man, I wish I didn't fade that.
I remember seeing this in our group chats. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that had a man. That was for us being Australia. That was last night's play, man. I saw that nice and early, but it was one of those times I was in 2 other AVAX plays, and I just didn't want to be in too many. I liked the look of it. Everything was great. I was in bear though, and I was in Rocket, and I thought I just don't want to be watching another coin, and then it just absolutely took off. And that was obviously the play to be in for yesterday/today. It'll be interesting to see what America does to that. I dare say I can guess. I know what's going to happen to the chart, and we're going to see a nice healthy pullback probably. But so I don't know about you. I'm not going to touch it now. That's one of those moments I give everyone a round of applause, like I did last night. I put up a tweet. I'm not even in the coin, and I said, GG to the people in that. That's absolutely ripped. But I won't touch a rip like that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that goes back to what we were just discussing before about it all too. But yeah, so guys in the stream, like obviously if you're new here, please subscribe down below. Smash that like button for Craig and I. It really does support the channel, helps us both grow in this space. Excuse me, I am sick at the moment, so I'll do my best. I'm trying to cough when I'm muted, so hopefully I can maintain that. But yeah, look, and what I love to see here is just look how much volume there is in these AVAX tokens. So this is again on Deck Screener for those that are watching. We have Avalanche over on the side, and we're hitting like this is probably 15 mil worth of volume here. Like that's so good to see on a chain outside even ETH, but let alone Solana as well. So we will look at a few Solana tokens now, I reckon as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any exposure to any of the Solana tokens at the moment?
No, I don't. And I was speaking to a guy yesterday who's very big into the Solana meme coins, and he actually gave me a call on TG yesterday and said, "Man, you got to start running these with me." He said that's so good. So I think I should probably start to dabble a bit. I did actually. Sorry, I did. I got into NOS. I don't even know how it's going.
I don't even know that. Let's have a look.
Someone just said it's an AI play on Solana, and I was like, I'll just chuck a little bit of money at it. I haven't even followed it. It's probably not looking good that you're not seeing it on that.
on the trending up the top. I'm having a look at all that. It's not there. So
I think it's just it's probably gone to the absolute dust.
Well, let's look at Bonk. Obviously, that's the premier one. It's at 1.3 billion now. Like that's just absurd. Like it's overtaken. I think it's in the top. It's third currently for the top largest meme coin in the whole of crypto. And I think I put out a post recently about how it'll overtake SHIB as number 2, particularly just being on Solana. So if we zoom out, like just look at this chart, right? That is just correct. That's a week. That's weekly charts. And if you're in this is about 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, you're up at 23, 24x.
Jeez, man. Unbelievable. What for you? What's the narrative driving this?
I think this one is just okay. There's a bot, so people can use the Bonk bot. The second one, it was airdropped to. I'm not sure who got the airdrop. Maybe people in the chat might actually know, but a lot of people did get the airdrop for Bonk. A lot of people did just hold it. And Solana people, they're community driven, they're Bonk driven. So like this could go to several $1 billion. Like it is just crazy.
Do I need to buy Bonk?
No, look at it. Don't buy it here, man. Don't buy it here.
It looks like keep going for God's sake.
But like, look at this. Like, it would have been a great scalp yesterday. Like, you could have made a 2x. 2x yesterday just on the dump of everything. Like and like NFTs. We'll look at NFTs soon as well. But like, there's so much, like so many good plays in this market. Like this is Bonk, and then the other one that I've been tweeting about for a long time is Myro. Again, it's the dog. And if you look here, like obviously we wicked, but we're holding that sort of semi-level here. But again, we have this long trend upwards, and it's at 30 mil. So I would love to I think this is probably the better play.
Yeah.
And like Bonk's at 1.3 bill. So like, again, this one's at 30 mil. So this could be an easier play to 100 mil is a 3x. So that's probably where I'd be placing my bets in Solana, maybe sort of Myro, maybe some other top coins on there. None that I currently got trending. Like Whiff, I have heard of a couple of times. Oh, Guac is here too. Let's have a look at Guac quickly. Yeah, so Guac's at 47 mil, but again, it's starting to just consolidate in this zone probably for a period of time. So that's one that you can keep an eye on as well. So yeah, it's crazy. Like you can make so much money across all different chains here. Hey,
those charts, man, on Solana are great, aren't they? On these meme coins, those charts are sexy, man. Like those
100%.
looking strong. Is it Whiff? Am I right that Whiff's the one that went on an absolute tear recently? Is that what I'm seeing on my timeline?
I think you're right. Yeah, let's have a look.
I'm sure it's ripping.
It's currently trending. Yeah, 20. Yeah. Oh my God, what?
That's why I'm seeing. I'm just if I see it on the timeline getting rammed down my throat, I know it must be a massive green candle.
Dude, that's like overnight. That's just gone up a 6x. What? That is insane. That's crazy.
It's you know what though, it's so good to see, man, because it
Oh
means
yeah.
that money's going to rotate. It's going to go
Yep.
somewhere, and it's just about picking those smaller buckets below. Because as you know, smart money they'll go a couple of ways. They'll go into maybe a more conservative buy from there, or possibly another 5 lower cap gambles.
Yeah.
So it's just about finding those next buckets where the smart
100%.
so-called money will go.
And that might be a good segue into NFTs actually. And like we'll look at Solana NFTs first. I want to touch on the SocialFi aspect too. So like we might be on for another half an hour, guys, which is great. So please stick around. Please smash that like button. Obviously, I can see about 20 of you in the group. So yeah, thanks for coming here and being with us today. But yeah, it's a good segue into NFTs because we'll start with obviously just Solana NFTs, but these dipped hard. And I think I said in my group yesterday, Mad Lads, anything like they were down at 160, I think, or 170. Like I just couldn't believe that. And like this is like it's already up 30 sold. Yeah, look at this. So it dipped down to 155. There you go. So like that's already you'd be up 40 sold nearly if you had just bought that dip yesterday. And like 40 sold, that's so much money. Like that is so much money. So it's just like okay. That's where like you start to think about, okay, like you said, people have made money in the WIF token. Now they'll start to look at some of these better plays on Solana. So obviously Tensorians has pumped from like 50. I saw him at 50. They pumped to like 120, I think. But it's the premier sort of collections on Solana that you want to be looking at. I obviously have Klanos. Do you have any exposure to NFTs on Solana?
I don't. I almost got into Klanos, Klanosaurs. I didn't. Yeah. What have they sort of done?
Let's look at the chart. They did pump. Yeah, they did pump a little bit, but they have dipped. This is 4 hours, so let's just zoom out a little bit. Let's zoom out a little bit more because it'll show really where we are. So obviously listings are going down, so that's a bullish sign. The community are very good. Actually, you know what? It's like not a bad pullback zone at the moment. Like if I was to do a bit of TA, you can probably see that we broke out. Oh, is it going to let me? Yeah, there we go. Is it? So we probably broke out, back here in early December, and we have been up only since. So if you do look here, we are like a higher low is all the way down back to 43 sort of area for Klanos. So I definitely would keep an eye on this. Like I might even pick up another one here at 55 sort of level because I do see these hitting their all-time high, 100. So that's an easy swing trade of a 2x. So that's one that I'm looking at. Obviously, if we have a look at the top six, listings are heavily down. Holders 3.5, so that's pretty decent. You want to be in that mid-30 range percentage-wise of holders. But it's more than that. Like I don't know if you caught the Nifty morning show. They interviewed the creators of Klanosaurs, and they are top dogs, man. Like they know what they are doing. Like they're top animators in the space. They have biggest connections with some of the largest promoted, like Pixar and Disney and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of like, okay, I could swing trade this, but I also kind of want to maybe hold a little bit longer because you just don't know how this could potentially play out moving into 2024.
Yeah. What's sort of the bullish narrative of these? Is it more the team behind it, how well connected they are? What got people so G'd up on these ones?
I think the potential of like games, the potential obviously of it being like your IP sort of play as well. It's a cute factor. They have a toy, they have a business, they have so like there's several different sort of plays that you can take on it that Klanos are really starting to be probably one of the top 5 plays on Solana at the moment. So that's definitely one I've kept an eye on. What else have I got? Obviously, I'm in the dogs. The dogs are currently dipping at the moment, so that could be a good opportunity for certain people to get in. Again, that's because the Nifty Boys, like they're the top media place, in my opinion, top media company in Web3. So I don't know. I like to go through all of these and just have a look. Obviously, there's a lot going on here as well. Like you could have swing traded bonks the other day from about 1.5 sold to about 4.5 sold. So that's a 3x. That sort of stuff. There is other plays down here. So dogs were down at 6.5 when I woke up this morning. So they've already recovered the whole soul. So yeah, there's plenty of plays to be made. So, but that's on the soul side. Let's look at ETH. Do you own any ETH NFTs at the moment?
Oh man, tons.
Wallet. Talk to me. What are you in at the moment?
My wallet's chocker, man, but it's unfortunately not many of the good ones. I did have a little pudgy that I sold a little bit too soon. I sold it on the pump up to I think it was about 0.7.
Yeah.
And I got it pretty cheap, man. I think I might have got it for 0.2,
Yeah.
0.15. So I kind of,
Yeah.
interesting enough, probably my best, I sort of make a joke, my best NFT play in the last year, it's actually one my son picked. He picked
Yeah.
the Pudgy. So
Yeah.
it sort of just shows you sometimes blind luck kind of gets the best wins, eh? But
100%.
no, I don't have exposure to the big collections. But to be honest with you, I would have picked up a mutant if you'd asked me a year and a half ago if at this price I would. For me now, I'd rather park that ETH in other places.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of mutant snipes and probably they'll ruffle their feathers, but look, another thing that I noticed about those collections or mutants myself that was a bit bearish is a friend of mine bought one. Oh, Nifty Wap. He copped a couple of really top tier mutants, and I remember he jumped on the timeline on Twitter and said, "Hey guys, just copped a couple of mutants," and it was just like tumbleweeds, man. And
Yeah.
and for me, I was just like, "Whoa, that's bearish, man!" Like you've got a guy like that buying into your club and you haven't raided the shit out of that, man. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that doesn't look great to me. And then just hearing in the back channels, people that were new to the club were sort of saying, oh, just not a good, maybe the vibes are bad because it had dipped so hard. I get it. It's probably a bad time to gauge it, but it's also a time to probably be loud if you're confident or if you're proud. So
yeah.
I'm kind of glad
And
I haven't got exposure there, really. I'm not so far at the moment.
No, you're right. And honestly, the only ones I've traded was little pudges all the way up from about, I think I got in a bit higher than you, about 0.38, and then around this 1 ETH is where I dropped it off. I swing traded blockchain dice down here from about high threes to low 60s sort of range. So again, that was a 2x. So I haven't had enough conviction to hold an ETH NFT and compared to my like Mad Lab, right? I've own a Mad Lab, I own several doggos, I own a Kaleno. Just the upside and obviously Solana's upside plus the narrative side of it all, I think is just for me, like that's just where I think money is going to move and continue moving. So like you said, like you literally, like mutants have been a stable coin. They've hovered around for 5 ETH for like literally months, right? And the key narrative on ETH was to move into the Pudgy ecosystem, and their Pudgies hit 12.5x, 12.5 ETH the other day, which is like they were at 4 about 2 or 3 months ago, and like I was priced out at that point in time. So, but otherwise, I would have aped into a Pudgy for sure. Like, but like again, like we spoke about this earlier, it's people get stuck on the narrative. They go, oh yeah, no, they pumped last cycle. Oh no, I love my mutant. It's just like no disrespect to the ape community. I love them. That's some of my favorite people in the community of Web3. But you got to play the different narratives. Like things change, man, and like it's just you got to go with the times.
Yeah, for myself with the ETH NFTs, I haven't played them a lot lately. For me, probably the last time I really played them hard was this time last year when the burn meta was kicking in. The open positions, I really enjoyed that. That was pretty easy money. You just got in early on minted as many as you can on as many different wallets, and then just sell them into the pump. It was Christmas last year was great, man. It was great. Yeah. I sort of wondered whether we'd get a repeat of a strong meta coming in towards December, but it looks like it's going to be meme coins, man. It looks like meme coins are the new burn meta in a way. It's the thing where, and I kind of understand why it's so liquid, and that was one of the things with NFTs was the liquidity being down so much. It was hard to get out, and it just made me nervous that I'd end up bag holding because I couldn't get rid of them. Versus meme coins, I could just exit instantly at a price I decide. Like, not sorry, I don't decide it, but if that,
you know
what I'm saying. I can sell it like that. I may not get the price I want, but I can get the ETH or whatever out of it. Whereas with NFTs, you can get stuck in the mud so easily. Say a blur farmer dumps, and you're at their mercy. And it's, oh man. So I kind of kept away from them. I can't remember what I was flicking. Even 6 months ago, there might have been there were collections that were coming out 6 to 8 months ago that were kind of tied in with meme coins that were running due to those. So sort of playing those, but I haven't played NFTs in a while. And I wouldn't mind an NFT meta coming because I like the whole, the traits. I love collecting traits and digging and stuff like that. So that'd be cool. But meme coins for me are so easy, so liquid. They're pretty fun. The community, you know what? Essentially for me, they're just they're an NFT without the picture, aren't they? And they have a logo. So meme coins are so similar, and it's just kind of communities rallying around a narrative or central icon. It's so similar to me. NFT communities are, for me, identical to meme coin communities. They look the same, feel the same. Jump into Telegram, they behave the same. So for me now, I'm like, no, like I think what you're doing is probably smarter. Pick your NFT plays, but probably more medium term. Leading the ball. I just don't want to be flipping them like hotcakes at the moment. The excitement's just not there. So I think what you're doing is good. You pick a couple of solid plays that are going to give you a 10, 20, 30, 40, potentially 100x, park it up for a while. And with Solana also probably going to ramp, you're probably going to double dip there because, you know, if the Solana token goes up or the coin goes up plus the NFT, you're going to multipliers are massive.
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of like it's staking in a way, right? Because you're staking the token in an NFT, and if anything, it might actually outperform staking because that NFT might rip, like you say, a 5, 10, 20x, depending on what it is. So that's what I'm doing in Solana. So that's my sort of hedges this cycle. One last question on ETH. Have you been farming the Blur airdrop in terms of just staking Blur for that airdrop in May next year? And did you get the last airdrop?
I didn't get the last airdrop. I wasn't active enough, I suppose. I was buying, but I wasn't bidding. In hindsight, I don't know. Did people come out of that all right? It looked like
because the way that the incentive was around Blur and around Blast is that it actually bottomed as the airdrop came out. So a lot of people actually aped in. I actually bought it probably a little bit higher off the bottom. Because I realized the sentiment had changed around Blur, and it wasn't immediately dump your tokens. It was okay, stake it on the platform. So I got, I think I'll be transparent. I got 0.25 ETH. I didn't do much bidding. I probably bidded a few hours across a couple of months. So it was 0.25 return, which was pretty decent. But I immediately put that into staking in Blur to then farm the airdrop in what's about 5 months time now. And the multiplier, I wonder if I can pull it up. Oh no, I don't have my wallet connected. But like if the multiplier, sorry.
Is it quite juicy, the multiplier? Like it's looking pretty good.
Well, yeah. So if you got in early, they said, okay, if you stake in the first 4 days, you get a 4x daily return, you get a 3x daily return, 2x, 1x. And then from that period for the next 6 months, if you hold it in there's a multiplier that ticks over every month and will be a 5x on your whole portfolio at the end of the airdrop period of time. So you could have gone and dabbled on Blast and done those free spins and stuff and tried to farm the Blast token. So it's going to be a 50-50 split between Blur and Blast for the next airdrop. But I was like, okay, I don't have the time. I'm trading meme coins and stuff. We're trying to hit other altcoins and stuff. So I was like, okay, what's the easier option? It was the Blur option. And so then I was like, okay, they're heavily incentivizing you just staking it now. So I was like, okay, look, like if you don't need that liquidity, you might as well have thrown it in there and just hold that until the time. Like that could be. I've done the 2 previous airdrops, and they were both like the second one was slightly more lucrative than my first one, just again because I don't actively go through the processes of bidding and listing and that sort of thing. Just because ETH NFTs just haven't been high in volume, I suppose. So, but no, that's an easy way, sort of, just to lock up a bit of money to potentially could be even more lucrative moving into 2024.
Yeah, I need to look into it more because, like you said, it's nice to also have those plays where you can just set and forget. I like those. You can activate. You can have your sort of set and forget plays, and then your active sort of trading days where, like you said, you can focus on your meme coins. You can hit your 2, 3, 4, 5x's daily if you're lucky, and then you have that in the background ticking over, and you may get a win there. Hey, you may not, but as long as you're not having to keep your eye on it and you're actively performing during the days and weeks, even if that doesn't perform, you've kind of hedged your bet by being active in the meme coins, hitting other X's to sort of hedge against if there's a loss there, if there is one. You may just break even, but it may not even matter.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the play. Like if you have the liquidity, you might as well just do it just to see how you go with it. So, all right, let's move into SocialFi. So I'll start with you. Like, have you still been actively using Friendtech, or have you been avoiding it? Is there much liquidity?
Yeah, I have. I've sort of, I guess I haven't been as active the last 2 or 3 days. But all in all, I've sort of kept myself active on there. But that was more so just to, I suppose, just out of respect to the people that held my key, right?
Yeah.
But also, I suppose, to see how the platform evolved and things like that. It kind of got, I suppose, that it came out with a bang, and I sort of feel like it kind of got hurt a little bit by the perceived, or maybe not even the perceived, but the slowness of development of the platform. It was very clunky for a long time. It's a lot better now, but I think a lot of people, potentially were sort of, put off by that clunky, good 2-3 months of clunkiness where a message you'd have to send it 3 times for it to go through, right? You probably remember those days when you first started, and you just kept repeating messages and you're like, oh man, this is just annoying. So I was farming heavily there. I mean, I was in a lucky position, I suppose. I got in really early. I got in when the TVL was quite low. I sort of hit 5Xs there all the time. So I kind of went into it with 2 mindsets. I went into flip keys at the start, and I went into farm.
Yeah.
So I flipped keys on the way up. So I've I guess generated a fair amount of points. I'm risk free now. It's not my money, and I've taken profit. So I that's one of the plays I suppose I played almost perfectly. It's one of the rare times I don't know if I could have played it better. Now I'm just sitting back. I'm farming. It's none of my money. Am I active on there? Yeah, I am. Others active on there? A lot less than there were. I sort of feel now that the platform operates a lot better. It's still, to become true sort of fun SocialFi for me, and they probably know this, it needs gifts. It needs the ability to meme in there and to have multimedia videos. If it gets that, then I think that can catapult it to the next level. And it probably needs a bit more chat from the team surrounding the drop. You know what I mean? They're not saying much. So I think people like me are kind of like, I'm not putting any more money in. I'm in a safe position now, and I'm guessing a lot of others are as well. I don't want to put more money in because I feel like the upside. Why risk it now? I'm free, so I don't really want to put more liquidity into that. I'd rather be playing somewhere else. So for me, I'm happy I farmed it. I've got about 1.6 ETH in there worth of keys. I'm just letting that farm away. And if it dumps from there, couldn't care now. I mean, I will care, but it won't hurt me. So for me now, I'm in that, and I suspect a lot of the bigger players that were in earlier, just the same as me, which is why you're not seeing a massive pump, because we're all kind of waiting for that next catalyst to kick to then ramp it up. And I look at the TVL daily, I look at the data, and at the moment the data is saying to me, don't do anything. So while I'm not bullish, I'm not bearish. It's sort of at that zone for me now. It can go either way. It can crumble or can pump. So I'm happy just to sit on the sidelines now. But it certainly needs the team to start communicating a lot more. I think one of the other things, certainly for them, they've gone a bit quiet. So I'm going to sit back. So for me, I'm sidelined for now.
Yeah. Has there been any chat about the airdrop yet at all?
Not a lot, which is probably what people are kind of getting bearish on now, because the chat was always you sort of mid-Jan for the airdrop. Yeah. And what are we now? Mid-December. So like people like me, I'm starting to go, oh, you might want to chuck an announcement out, man, or an announcement for the announcement, if that makes sense. Like, give us a bit of foreplay, get me warmed up. But if they're not going to do that, I'm kicking. So to be honest, nothing. So I need to look into it a bit more. To be honest, I kind of took my eye off it a little bit the last sort of probably 4 weeks as far as airdrops go, just because memes were kicking off, alts were kicking off. So I need to revisit that. But it's one of those things I guess I haven't looked into it too much because I feel I'm quite safe. So I'm I can kind of let the market come to me. It's one of those cultures. So no, I haven't. But I saw you recently were into, what is it? What are you sort of?
Well, yeah. So this is like, that's why I wanted to talk to you about it, because obviously I did start in friend tech. I saw that it was probably just not going to take off in the way that I think we all hoped it did. Obviously, if you got into it really heavily, like you, and people really farmed your keys, I think this was when I hadn't really gotten a good status yet. And so I think people hadn't respected me as well. So then if you did have a bit more of a following, I think you definitely could have farmed it a lot better. And so I realized that quite early, that I was probably just going to burn my own ETH. So I didn't worry about it. And so I got out of it nice and early, and it obviously did take off a couple more times after that, which is great to see. And it's great to hear that you've made money and made profit as well, and gotten your initials out too, because that's the main thing. Like, get your initials out and let the rest ride, isn't it? Hey, but this shout out to a fellow who hit me up in my DMs, maybe I'm going to say a couple of weeks ago, about the Racket token. So I'll just share the token first. So he brought this on my radar way back down here. So the end of last month, and I was just looking at the actual sign of the token. I was like, okay, like obviously they've had like an airdrop, it pumped up. We've retraced a little bit here, but there's starting to be a bit of buying pressure again. So I looked into it a little bit more, and I started to realize that this is a utility play. And so there's a lot of tokens on like Solana and stuff that are really starting to take off that actually are a utility play. And so this one is on a social sort of narrative as well. And essentially the way that it works is you can amplify your X engagement using the token of RKT. So that's Racket, right? And so there's all these interesting burn mechanics. I'll show you what the platform looks very shortly. They're fantastic with engagement on Twitter. So that's what you want to see. They're really great. They actually supported me. They put a large bubble out of me the other day, which was fantastic. But if you jump onto the actual platform, which has only come out, I'm going to say like it's probably a week or two old. The way that it works is it looks like this. Okay. So again, like you can see me up here. So a plus means that it's a follow. You can put in a post. So like, for example, you want to get reposts, you put in how much you want to do, and then you bid it in the actual token. So the way that it works is you get a certain amount of token. You get airdrops. I think it's weekly or So as you can see here, I'm currently farming for the airdrop.
The screen's not coming up, Greeny.
Oh no. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what it looks like. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So essentially, this is what it looks like. I'll go back and just show the Twitter too. There we go. So this is what the Twitter looks like. Essentially, you're amplifying your Twitter engagement using the token, the underlying token of Racket, right? And that's RKT. They're super good with sort of their engagement on Twitter. They're super supportive of early adopters of the platform and of actual higher people in the space. So if you do have a larger following, it does suit you. And the way that it works is that you farm the actual token. So this is what the token chart looks like. I got in down here. There was people got a pre-sale. It pumped quite heavily. People dumped it, obviously. Reset, which is what you want to see. And then it's been up only ever since, up to 8 mil. I think I was in at about 2.9 mil. Pumped up to 13 mil a couple days ago. But again, this is what the actual platform looks like. And so there was a bit of speculation about how it would work and all that sort of thing. And if you look here, this is what it looks like. So it's a bubble chart. Obviously, the higher the bubble is at the top, the more Racket, so the more token has been allocated to that proposal, let's call it. Okay. And so this is what the profile looks like. Obviously, you get a Racket score. So that's what you rank over on the side. There's a chart over here to see your ranks. And then you get airdrops of the token throughout the week. So again, the way that it works is you spend your Racket token to sort of authentically grow a particular post. So it could be reposts, it could be to get follows, it could be to get likes. You can't use the feature one yet. It's currently locked. But in time, obviously, you'll be able to get featured, which they actually shouted me out the other day. So if you have a look here, there's obviously a range of people. If you spend more, you obviously are closer to the top. So one of my follow requests is up the top here. And honestly, it does tick over authentically every single day. And that's the thing. It's not a bot service. It's actually, they run it in the background so that you can grow authentically on your posts. The likes come through slowly across. Like I put up one of my posts from like a week ago and there's still likes coming through it every single day. So like I was testing it from like an engagement perspective, and it certainly does work. And so it's great to see this. It'll be interesting to see how the airdrops work and that sort of thing. But as you can see here, it's starting to get adopted by quite a lot of people. Obviously, only certain early people have access to it. But I'm pretty sure if you reach out to the team or you have it go, I think you might be able to connect to it now. But yeah, so like that's a like post there from me. And as you can see, so yeah, again, you farm the token by engaging with other people, and then you also get more of the token airdrop if you have other people engaging with you. So that's a really interesting play on Solana.
Yeah.
That I have been a big fan of, and I had one of the team members reach out to me the other day, which was super great, and said, "Hey man, I featured you. Shout out to you for your content just in general, not even just about Racket, but just your content." So it's really great to receive feedback like that, but also for them to shout me out. So yeah.
I just wanted to ask. So, so you get airdrop points every week. Is that the token, or is that social credit that you can give out?
No, so that'll be the token. So you get
Oh,
you
right.
accumulate points. It's like, for example, let me just, what's one that I haven't done? Like, I'll follow this guy. So this is what it looks like, right? So it says here you earn 3.3 Racket token, right? So I'll follow this guy. It'll click, and then it'll say bid place, and then my points and my Racket score will go up for that particular airdrop. So as you can see down here, we have an airdrop in 1600 minutes. So that's probably a few days away still, but yeah. So you farm the token as much as you want to farm, but also you throw yours out. So I think I threw out some posts. So I just got to farm me. So that's a follow request. That's a follow request. So I've obviously put in a few follow requests. But there was a post here the other day. That's a love heart. That's a love heart. So there's 2 love heart posts there. Another one there. So I throw out posts. The reposts I have found probably aren't as authentic as likes and as people following you, just because people probably don't like promoting other people's stuff on their Twitter channel. Is what, like, and that makes sense, right? And so that's kind of what I've been farming in the background of just this social fire sort of narrative.
That looks cool, huh?
Yes.
It seems like it flows really nicely back to Twitter.
Yeah.
Like the friction's minimal. It's
yes.
not, and in fact, like you said, it actually complements Twitter or X, if you will, rather than competes. Whereas FriendTech, unfortunately, what I found is you ended up separating the audience. So what it ended up making me do is I had to work twice because I was having to put the information. It just gave me another area I had to put information. So in a way, it was kind of like, oh god damn it, I've kind of made myself have to copy and paste all the time because I've got an audience there now.
So this is the evidence, right? Like, and like, I'm always like, I'm all about the analytics side and stuff. So I put up this morning show shout out that I got, right?
Yeah,
and
that was great, dude. That was awesome.
Oh, cheers, bro.
I love that show. Those guys crack me up, man.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good. But I've put this post on Racket, and it's accumulated 477 likes just from me sharing it on there. So like, and that was coming through literally till yesterday. So yeah, I really find it quite like innovative, but also quite good and authentic. So yeah,
that's also going to stimulate your X payouts as well.
Yeah, 100%.
You're going to get paid twice, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get there, man.
So well, I linked it to you a while ago. So yeah, have a look in that group.
Yeah, I missed it out. That looks cool. That looks really cool. 2 birds, 1 stone, really, isn't it?
Yeah, easy. Yeah, no, well, outside that, I don't think I really want to cover too much else. We could touch on gaming a little bit if you want to, actually.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I mean, I don't know too much about. You mean gaming as far as like on ABACs and things like that? Yeah, actually, let's go there.
Yeah,
good topic.
The tokens and stuff. So if we have a look here, so this will probably just be the last sort of topic of conversation that we'll have. But yeah, so gaming, obviously, this is what I briefly touched about it earlier when we were looking at Beam, but this is like people just still don't like open their eyes to essentially the narratives that are going to run off. Like Cedarfi is up at $4 already. Like it's just pretty crazy.
Cedarfi is one of the ones last bull I did really well on, and that was that launch pad that who was advising for them? Was it Alex?
Oh, Elio and Alex Becker. Yeah.
And I got into it, and that token did really well, and I think that's gonna. And in fact, it's been performing well. I've looked over the last few weeks; it's been kicking ass.
Yeah, if you got in October,
I was looking for was that token to go.
Yes, and if you got Like if you got in 2 months ago, you're up probably a 10x nearly already. So it's pretty
nuts, man, in this market. Like people are like, oh, it's not the bull yet. It's like, dude, tokens are 10xing. Like, you know, do you need 100x to confirm or like 10x is beautiful?
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Vulcan Force. I know you're big on. I was big on that last run as well, last bull.
Yeah, and so it's been moving up. Like, look at that. Like, that's a great chart. It held its support. It held its levels, and now it's back up to sort of medium range, and then that'll just take off. Yeah. Yeah. So if we look at that, and then there's plenty of other ones. Do you have any gaming exposure at the moment?
I'm in Vulcan Forge. I'm in Cedarfy. That might be it, but that's only because I sort of remembered them from last run. So I kind of, at the moment, I'm a bit naive to what the newer, what the new plays are to this run. I'm a bit
Yeah.
like, I know my old ones that I'm comfortable with, so I've been watching their charts. So I need to start. I really need to start doing my due diligence now into what. Like, what are the newer ones? Is there anything coming out lately that looks exciting, or is it sort of
Yeah, big time.
yeah, big
Yeah, big
time?
time
Yeah.
here is certainly like it accumulated for a long time. It's pumped up quite a lot. It's up a 9x already from its lows. Like that's one that I've looked at. I have a small exposure to big time. Ronin's one that kicks on the morning show's been in for a long time. Like he got in down at these lows. Like that's one that has super bullish on this one. Again, do your own research into Ronin. But again, Nakamoto's have their own platform. I've been accumulating that one for a long time, and again, like it's just health in the chart, right? Like, why ignore something? Ignore something like that. What else is there? Echelon Prime, like it's been on absolute tear. It's got an actual platform that has a game already being played. I've heard a lot about Star Atlas being not a bad buy. I'm in Wilder World from just a metaverse sort of play. It bumped ridiculously last cycle. So again, like it's bumped like it was that's a 3-4x already. But again, look at the room that it could potentially go. Obviously, not all these tokens will go to their all-time high, and that's obviously a true state. But you want to have exposure to these sort of things. So they're the ones that I have exposure to. If I go a little bit lower, Shrapnel, obviously, no, that's a different one. That's not the actual Shrapnel token that we've looked at on AVAX. But
yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing like you say that's new outside probably big time that is like a big play just yet, and that's when you know the market is really heating up is when you have those sort of larger gaming cap plays for sure.
It's getting to I sort of thought about this the other day. It's getting to the cool part of the market for me anyway, where I get to trade a couple of markets, one of those being meme coins and then the other being altcoins, because altcoins for me is what I traded last bull. So I'm really comfortable with alts. So I've actually been looking forward to getting a second crack at alts. And I remember, last run, gaming coins or gaming tokens had such massive runs, which Alex Becker preaches a lot. And love or hate him, man, the guy's been right more than he's been wrong. So ego side, people like, this or that or whatever. Don't worry about what the dude looks like or how he flexes. Doesn't matter, man. It's what the calls he makes. And look, last bull, he was on the money. He actually caught a lot of good NFTs last bull run as well. So I respect the dude, he's making the right call. And Elio trades as well. That was a guy that I followed a lot last bull run. I haven't followed him a lot lately through the bear. But he was someone who was on the money with gaming coins last time. Not a bad couple of guys to plug into for this one. But I think those are potentially going to be the coins that, and they preach this as well, which are going to give you the best potential for 10 to 100x. And it's exciting to get these plays coming now, because I kind of feel like these are the ones versus meme coins. Meme coins for me are a little bit risky to accumulate. Whereas altcoins like this, pullbacks are nice because I'm happy to accumulate, and I'll sit on those for 6 months if I have to.
And that's I'm going to record a new video probably in the coming days about portfolio management, because that's it. Like a lot of people are like, meme coins, you make a 10x, you make a 50x, whatever. But they are so risky, and they are the shortest amount of time. Yeah, so stressful, shortest amount of time frame, right? Like you want to be, like you said, those altcoins that are also low cap gems because they are actually having utility, or they have hype around their utility. Like that's where you want to be placing your bets, ideally for the medium to longer term time frame.
It was funny. I was going through my the American listeners won't know this, but locally the exchange here is Coinspot that I use. I was going through my Coinspot withdrawals from 21 just to see the money I was making. It was magnificent, man. Like it was interesting because I got quite heavily into game coins. I was in Engine early. That absolutely ripped. Decentraland, Sandbox, you name it. I was in them all. And it was cool to just see every second day. And this isn't me bragging. Everybody hit this. But it was like $3,000 withdrawal. Next day, $3,000 withdrawal. Next day, $2,000 withdrawal. Like looking back, I'd actually forgotten how good the bull run was. Like, because you kind of, the bear market kind of, It's interesting psychologically what the bear market does to you, huh? It really wears you down. It makes you really, it made me quite pessimistic in a way for a long time. But it was a good reminder going through my Coinspot in 21, looking at those going, man, it was good. And it just reminds you about, set your traps, get into your conviction plays as early as possible, we're still early now. And the good thing about these plays is, those rewards that I'm talking about now, they only came 3, 6, and 9 months after the purchase. So it wasn't like I bought them and next week, boom, I took $3,000 out. No. I put money in and pumped it, retraced. I went, oh no. I had to hold my nuts for about 6 months or 9 months or a year even. But lo and behold, after a year, they were 10Xs, man. But it was quite, compared to meme coins, it was a lot less stressful because, it was like, and you'll probably remember this, Sunday was the only day it went down. It was up, Sunday down, Monday, up, Sunday down. So you you laid your traps, or you paddled out to the swell, you waited, you watched the wave come, and you just waited, man. And it was a very almost stress-free. It was stressful, but it's a lot less stressful than meme coins. But I would say for most people out there that are probably newer to the game, if you've been playing meme coins, you're about to have a really good time, man. Old coins are really fun. And you don't have to keep your eye on it nearly as much. And that's what I like about it. And you can do what you do. I wake up in the morning, Greeny, you're probably the same. Overall market sentiment, have a look at what's doing what. And you can jump on those. You can almost afford to jump on those charts even just weekly for those sorts of plays and just see what it's doing weekly. I'm OCD, so I'm daily. You can go in weekly and you can kind of kick back and it's funny. You just look at it and you're like, shit, that's a 10X, so I should probably take some money. And it was really like that. So I think for everyone who's still here and everyone who survived through this bear market, congratulations. It was hard. That was tough on me. I struggled and I've got massive conviction in the space. So I'm excited to have some fun in this space. And it's nice to kind of be doing these videos with you and a few other people now. Because I think we're at a time now where we're going to have a lot to talk about. We're going to have a lot of fun things to talk about. We're going to have a lot of money making to talk about versus over the last year, it's been, should I just survive that one? Or, you know what I mean? It was a lot tougher. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's coming up. You've got a few people asking questions here, Greeny. I don't know if you want to touch on those before we sort of...
I'm looking at that right now. So what sites do you guys use to track chain volume? So I use Dex Screener. There's Dex Tools. There's a few out there, but Dex Screener for me is just the best one. It's super clean. You can look at your market caps, your volume, your transactions live as well. That one's easy, and that covers all chains. So that covers your AVAX, your ETH, and your Solana. I have shared that. I released a video yesterday on education and the resources I use. So be sure to check that one out too, because that's where I release a lot of the things that I check every single day. So that's good to see. Appreciate it. Shout out to everyone that's been here today. Thanks for being here. Racket is in a soft launch, and that's what makes me super bullish, is that I'm lucky that I'm an early person who has access to that platform. So it's great to see that it's working currently at like a lower evaluation that it could potentially go into in the coming months for sure. So that's exciting. What else? That's pretty much it. Amazing. No, and like you said, man, like I think this bear cycle was quite hard because it was inflation was hard, the cost of living was expensive, and so a lot of people didn't have money to just be like, oh yeah, I'm happy to issue some money over here. But we weren't getting our stimmies like we did in 2020 after COVID and stuff like that. And like America obviously got a lot of money, so they were like, oh yeah, here, let's chuck it into crypto sort of thing. So you just have to essentially place your bets in the right cards and just have conviction long term. And like I say that every day in my group. I say that on Twitter. Like you just have to have conviction long term. Like this could be the super cycle that brings like full adoption of the space. You just don't know. So yeah,
like an ETF, could pop off at any time. You look at you probably, before we go, the gold, the gold chart when the ETF came in, and gold just absolutely ripped. Now, looking at that, it makes me think, holy shit, man, you got to have some Bitcoin. Like you have to, because that, I mean, but these bears out there, they're like, the ETF won't do shit, blah, blah, blah. Well, man, going by history and past charts, it'll do heaps. So I'm not going to go against the past. So I think seeing that, when that comes in, whoo-wee, man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
I know.
maybe that's a good time to sort of end it just on that high. But
Yeah.
Cheers, Greeny, for having me on today. And I'll be certainly keen to have more chats with you in the future. There's just so much. I mean, I could talk about this all day, but we'll do more of these. And, it's nice to connect with like-minded people that are sort of here for the right reasons as well, not just to shill your project. You know what I mean? You're so much of that last run. And that's kind of where I sort of came from. And I sort of recognized in you sort of want to help educate people more than you want to make money from people. That's a side, that's a consequence of just hard work, right? And integrity.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And like we exactly right. We were slaving away for months and months when there was no interest at all. And it's great that we are starting to see rewards for that. So, and like, I'm all about adopting that education wave and bringing those people into crypto and helping them out wherever I can. So shout out to Craig for being here today, guys. His links are down below, so be sure to drop him a follow on Twitter if you don't already. Thanks for being here. We just ticked over an hour and 30, so that's excellent. Obviously, second live stream. So thanks for being here. Smash that like button, helps me grow as well. And I'll be sure to let you know when our next live stream is. So thanks for being here today, Craig.
Thanks, guys. Cheers, Greeny. See you, brother.
Cheers, guys. All right. See you, everyone. Thanks.